The rejection email arrived at exactly 9:17 a.m., blinking onto his phone screen like a final verdict. In that single moment, as the city roared around him with car horns and hurried footsteps, the young man felt something inside him collapse. He stood frozen on the sidewalk outside the glass tower where his future was supposed to begin, unaware that one small act of kindness done only hours earlier had already set his life on a very different path. Before the story goes any further, pause for a second. If you believe that kindness still matters in a world that often feels cold, if you believe in second chances and unseen blessings, then please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. His name was Arav Malik, 26 years old, son of a retired factory worker and a school librarian, who had spent her life teaching children that integrity mattered more than success. Arav had grown up learning how to stretch small joys into something meaningful. He learned early how to be patient, how to wait, how to work twice as hard for half the recognition. That morning, he wore his only good suit, freshly ironed, the fabric still smelling faintly of detergent and hope. The interview he was heading toward was everything to him. It was with Orion Dynamics, a powerful corporation whose name alone could change the trajectory of a career. He had studied for weeks, rehearsed answers in the mirror. Imagine the relief on his parents' faces when he told them he was finally stepping into something stable. The city felt unusually heavy that morning. Clouds hung low, traffic crawled, and time seemed to slip through his fingers faster than usual. As Arav rushed toward the metro station, his thoughts tangled with anxiety. Rent was overdue, his father's medication had increased in cost, his mother tried to hide her worry behind forced smiles. This job was not just an opportunity, it was survival. That was when he noticed her. She was sitting on the edge of the sidewalk near a busy crossing, her knees pulled close to her chest, her face pale and strained. At first, Arav did what most people did. He noticed, hesitated, and almost looked away. He was already late. Every second mattered. The interview panel would not wait for compassion. They would only see the clock. But something about her felt different. She wasn't begging, she wasn't calling out. She looked lost, shaken, like someone whose world had suddenly cracked open. As he passed, he saw her hands trembling as she tried to stand and failed. Her phone lay shattered beside her, screen spiderwebbed with cracks. A few people glanced at her and moved on. Arav slowed his pace, his heart pounding louder than the city noise. He thought of his mother's words about character being revealed in inconvenient moments. He checked his watch. He had just enough time, if he hurried afterward. He turned back. Helping her was not simple. She had twisted her ankle badly, and every attempt to stand ended in a sharp wince. Arav offered his arm, steadying her weight, feeling the fragility of the moment. Cars honked impatiently as he guided her away from the road. He flagged down a small cafe nearby, helped her sit, and asked for water. She was young, maybe 20, with tired eyes that carried more fear than pain. Without hesitation, Arav paid for the water, used his handkerchief to gently wrap her ankle, and asked if there was someone he could call. She shook her head weakly, explaining that her phone had slipped from her hand during a panic attack triggered by the crowd and noise. Minutes slipped away like sand. Arav checked the time again, his stomach tightening. He knew what he was risking. He could feel it. But he stayed. He called for a cab, explained the situation, and made sure the driver understood to take her to the nearest private clinic. He helped her into the car, gave the driver extra money, and scribbled his own number on a scrap of paper just in case. He didn't wait for thanks. He barely noticed her watery smile. He closed the door and watched the cab disappear into traffic. When Arav finally reached Orion Dynamics, he was already too late. The receptionist's polite smile didn't soften the blow. The interview panel had moved on. His name had been crossed off. Policies were policies. Rescheduling was not an option. He tried to explain, his words tumbling over each other, but the glass walls behind her felt impenetrable. He walked out of the building with his shoulders slumped, his suit suddenly feeling like a costume he no longer deserved to wear. That afternoon, the rejection email arrived, short, professional, cold. It thanked him for his interest and wished him luck in future endeavors. Arav sat on a park bench, staring at his phone until the letters blurred. He felt foolish, naive. angry at himself for believing kindness could coexist with ambition in a world that rewarded speed over soul. He wondered how he would explain this to his parents. He wondered if he had just ruined everything for a stranger who would forget him by tomorrow. Days passed slowly after that. Arav sent out more applications, each one feeling heavier than the last. His savings dwindled. Nights grew longer. Doubt crept into the quiet moments, whispering that he had made the wrong choice. Yet, even in the darkest hours, something inside him remained stubbornly calm. He remembered the girl's relief when she realized she wasn't alone. That memory refused to feel like a mistake. A week later, his phone rang with an unknown number. At first, he ignored it. Then it rang again, and again. Finally, he answered. What followed left him breathless. The voice on the other end introduced itself formally, professionally, and with an authority that made Arav sit upright. The caller explained that there had been an internal review at Orion Dynamics. A personal matter, they said, had come to light involving one of their senior executives and a young woman who had been helped during a medical emergency. The girl Arav had helped was the daughter of the company's CEO. She had not forgotten him. From the clinic bed, with her ankle wrapped and her fear slowly easing, she had spoken about the stranger who stopped when everyone else rushed past. She spoke about how he missed something important for her, how he treated her not like a burden but like a human being. Her father listened, and then he asked questions. He reviewed security footage, he asked for names, he read the interview logs, and when he saw that Arav Malik had been denied an opportunity for being late, something shifted within the company's highest walls. Arav was invited back, not for an interview, but for a conversation. Walking into the same glass building days later felt surreal. This time, he wasn't nervous. He wasn't rehearsing answers. He was simply himself. The meeting room overlooked the city, sunlight pouring in like a quiet blessing. The CEO spoke about values, about leadership, about how companies often claim to care about integrity but rarely reward it. He admitted that policies can sometimes blind people to character. He told Arav that skill could be taught, but compassion could not. Arav was offered the position, not as an act of charity, but as a statement. The job came with responsibility, mentorship, and trust. Arav accepted, his hands steady, his heart full. When he called his parents afterward, his mother cried softly, and his father stayed silent for a long moment before whispering that he was proud. Months later, Arav would often pass that same crossing on his way to work. The city still rushed. People still hurried past one another, but he walked with a different awareness now. He understood that life's most important moments rarely announce themselves. They arrive disguised as inconveniences, delays, and difficult choices. As this story draws closer to its end, if it has touched something inside you, if it reminded you of a moment when you chose kindness or wished you had, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this survive because of hearts like yours. And before the final moment, we have a special request. Please comment below with the word kindness if you believe that doing the right thing, even when it costs you, will always find its way back. Arav never helped that girl expecting anything in return. He didn't know who she was, who her father was, or what power surrounded her. He only knew that someone needed him, and he chose to stay. In the end, that choice didn't just change his career, it affirmed something deeper, something the world often forgets. That compassion is never wasted, that character echoes longer than opportunity, and that sometimes losing what you think you need is exactly how life gives you what you truly deserve.